2024 District 7 Board of Education meeting. Carrie, would you please call the roll?
Delariva?
Here.
Brumback?
Here.
Fund? Here. Sanderson?
Here.
Patey?
Here.
Ahart? Proctor? Here. Trotter? Bertles?
Here. I would like to welcome our guests and our visitors this evening. We have a room full of students to be recognized in the comments, but we appreciate the support that you guys are giving to each of those students tonight. And at this time, I will ask all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will entertain a motion to approve the November 25th, 2024 agenda as it has been presented this evening.
So moved.
Second.
And discussion? Please call the roll.
Delariva?
Yes.
Fund?
Yes.
Brumback?
Yes.
Sanderson?
Yes.
Patey?
Yes.
Bertles?
Yes. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the board's executive closed special session meeting held on October 28th, 2024.
Move to approve. Second.
And discussion? Please call the roll.
Delariva?
Yes.
Brumback?
Abstain.
Fund?
Yes.
Sanderson?
Yes.
Patey?
Yes.
Bertles?
Yes. At this time, Dr. Shelton, will you please provide us with your superintendent's report?
All right, thank you. Good evening. Welcome, everyone. Let's start by wishing everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Everybody in our district that I've talked to knows this is absolutely one of my favorite holidays. Just a time for nothing else but friends, family, and food. So we have a lot to be thankful for, and this is especially this Thanksgiving. Also, as part of that, I want to remind everybody we have no school on Wednesday as part of that, so we'll be out Tuesday after school. We held the third District 7 discussion group this month at Glen Carbon Public Library and had 3 individuals in attendance. At each of these, as I mentioned at every meeting, I'm asking for feedback related to the potential of a 7-period day at the high school, as well as changing school start times and transportation studies. So we'll get feedback at every discussion group for that. But in addition to those items, we talked about AP course opportunities, data about public school educators, and career pathway opportunities for students. So a lot of great discussion. The next discussion group is scheduled for Wednesday, December the 4th at 7 a.m. If you're interested in attending, please contact Carrie Francis to RSVP for one of the times available. She can be reached by email or calling 618-655-6014. Information was sent home last week regarding plans for inclement weather and the district's use of emergency closure days and or e-learning days. The type of day we use will be dependent on the time of year and the conditions present, but we will provide as much notice as possible in the event of an e-learning day. Chances are those will be called the night before and not the morning of, but if we have multiple, we still reserve the right to do the day of if we need to. We have been invited by First Student to be one of the first of their current districts in the country to launch the new First View app that will be launching this January when we return from winter break. The new version of First View features a fresh look, simplified tech environment, and advanced tracing capabilities for home-to-school trips. First Student wrote that part. First Student has selected our district to help pilot the updated version of First View to provide feedback and ensure it meets the needs of families before the full rollout in July of 2025. We're the largest district they have piloting the app and the first district to migrate from the current First View app, which will be called First View Classic. So if you go to download the new First View app, you'll want to look for First View 1.0. Later in December, you'll receive instructions on how to download that new app and register with the information specific to our district. So it is a brand new software download. The app will be available for use at the beginning of the second semester, beginning Monday, January the 6th, and the current app will be discontinued after school on Friday, January the 17th. We got a preview of the new app last week, and the functionality difference is amazing. They have data on door openings and closings and stops, and it's pretty slick. Excited to see it get rolled out district-wide. We recently received District 7's first new open gate system. This is an open weapons detection system and conducted the first field test at last Friday's girls basketball home opener. Moving forward, we'll be using open gate anytime we anticipate a crowd size that we've determined to be a specific size large enough to indicate the use. That allows us to have SSOs and SROs there to help support safety and security within District 7. Due to a change in the methodology for determining bond ratings for U.S. governments, the district's bond rating was recently reviewed by S&P Global. In that review, the rating was modified from a rating of A- to a rating of A+. The rating change was based on a view of material improvement in district finances, which we expect the district will maintain. Obviously, that's good financial news for District 7. At this month's work session that was held on Tuesday, November the 12th, information was presented to the board on the school report card and student achievement, changes in courses for 25-26 in the course handbook that will be recommended for approval later this evening, the designs for school secure entries that is scheduled for summer 2025 in the remaining District 7 schools, and projections for the tax levy for FY26. All of these discussion items can be viewed on the YouTube channel for EHS Broadcasting, and just look for the work session special meeting on November the 12th. Next month, we'll be bringing a calendar recommendation for the 2025-2026 school year and a preview of the draft calendar for 2026-2027. Prior to working on the 25-26 calendar, we surveyed the community and had over 2,000 responses from parents, District 7 staff, and community members about the calendar next year. As a reminder, we have construction scheduled at 8 campuses this summer, actually it might be 9 campuses this summer, that's causing us to move the start of the school year to the week of August 18th. The first day for students will be Wednesday, August 20th, and we project that the last day will be on Wednesday, May 27th, without any snow days. And board members, you do have a copy of that draft that we're going to be getting feedback on the next month sitting in front of you. Over the next several weeks, we'll be getting feedback from students, teacher groups, and it'll probably come up in our District 7 discussion group next week regarding some changes in the calendar that we're recommending, so we can address any concerns and make sure that we're just finding a calendar that meets the needs of as many people as possible, and then we will bring a recommendation to the board for approval in December.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
At this time, Josie Proctor will provide our junior student representative report.
Thank you. Today I'll be reading for me and Amelia, because Amelia's not here today. November is National Epilepsy and Diabetes Awareness Month. Epilepsy is a neurological disorder that causes recurrent seizures due to abnormal brain activity, while diabetes is a condition where the body struggles to regulate blood sugar levels either due to insufficient insulin production or ineffective insulin use. We are wearing purple during this month to support epilepsy and diabetes awareness. The German Honor Society sponsored Socktoberfest, a sock drive competition between the world languages at EHS. German came in first this year, with French coming in second place. In total, 934 pairs of socks were collected and donated to the Glen Ed Pantry. The National Art Honor Society hosted an after-school event known as Teacher Craft. All EHS students were welcome to attend the workshop on candle making. Profits from this event will be donated to the Glen Ed Food Pantry. Congratulations to our girls basketball team on their impressive home opener victory over Pleasant Plains. Congratulations to EHS Swim and Dive for finishing 13th. Congratulations to boys cross country for placing 13th, while girls placed 8th. Congratulations to the EHS boys soccer team for finishing 4th at IHSA State Championship. Band, along with orchestra and choir, have been getting ready for their holiday concert coming up on December 4th in the A Gym. EHS Chamber Singers had the privilege of singing with Robbie Robinson and the Route 66 Band at the Wildly Theater Friday evening. Drama finished their performance of Letters to Sala and now are preparing for their winter show for our kindergarten through 3rd graders. There will be a public performance on December 7th. CEO is hosting an event called Jumpstart for Joy for families, which will have bounce houses, skating, pics with Santa, princesses, and more. It will be at the Myers Center YMCA this Friday from 4 to 8, and tickets are $10. Students in the Future Teacher program went to Woodland Elementary to observe 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade classes. They also attended a conference at SIUE and listened to current Illinois Teacher of the Year. The blood drive hosted by HOSA and National Honor Society was very successful. National Honor Society also put on a successful trunk or treat with a multitude of decorated trunks. Warden had their first art night. They had a gym full of students and their families in attendance as they participated in a variety of activities. Some of their favorites were packing peanut people, origami, and painting. Warden had their coin war, where students brought in change to see which grade could bring in the most money. The winning class was 5th grade, and they voted on what would happen to their principal. Over half of the students voted for her to be duct taped to the wall. Each student was able to participate by adding tape on her. The money collected is being used to pay for some games and activities to be used for indoor recess. LeClaire had their family math night on November 21st. They had games and number activities set up to show the kids that math can be fun. On Veterans Day, Cassins proudly celebrated their veterans with their annual parade and breakfast event. Over 35 vehicles joined the parade, greeted by students who honored their service and dedication. Following the parade, veterans were invited to share a special breakfast with their students. Liberty hosted their Veterans Breakfast on November 8th. They were able to recognize around 50 veterans and thank them and their families for their service.
Thank you. Those are always interesting things going on at each of our buildings, so appreciate all the reports that you had constructed. So, at this time, does any board member have a report to share?
I have the IASB updates for November. As the school board elections approach this spring, IASB, Illinois Association of School Boards, will continue to offer webinars and various topics related to the election. There's also an archive section. If anyone missed a session or topics, they can go back and look that up and find it. And then also, as we prepare for new board members, IASB provides numerous resources to help everyone work together as a new board. In addition to the required training for new board members, they also have a roadmap to help guide new board members for that first year.
Thank you.
And I'd like to add to Lynn's report on the IASB as I joined her and the leadership team, Dr. Shelton, Dr. Duncan, and Carrie Francis at the III conference this past weekend. We had the opportunity to hear from four keynote speakers and engage with board members from districts across the state. Our first keynote speaker, Mickey Smith, recipient of the 2020 Grammy Music Educator Award and a middle school band teacher, was very inspiring. His message, "Keep on Going," emphasized the importance of persistence in the face of obstacles, and through his saxophone performances and his reflections on vision, intentionality, and consistency, he offered a powerful call to action to face the music with focus and determination. Our second keynote speaker, David Horsager, delivered an impactful session on trust. Like Smith, he underscored the importance of consistency, but delved further into the psychological pillars of trust necessary for strong organizational structures. His insights provided valuable takeaways for fostering trust within our teams. And then the final two keynote speakers, both Illinois superintendents, addressed unfinished work ahead and offered practical, forward-looking strategies for improvement. Their grounded approach left us with actionable ideas to enhance our practices. Alongside Dr. Duncan, I attended a work session on school safety, which provided an overview of SAVIEM training, a program in which our own safety crisis team is certified. The speakers introduced the I Love You Guys Foundation, whose practices our district is currently adopting, and Dr. Shelton talked about that a few weeks ago. The session focused on the reunification process, a structured approach to crisis management that emphasizes clear communication, coordination, command structures, and resource management. And Dr. Duncan and I participated in a walkthrough of this process to better understand its implementation. Throughout the session and during breaks, I appreciated Dr. Duncan's thoughtful discussions on how we are incorporating these practices under the direction of the Chief of Security, Michael Hubbard, and our own safety crisis team. I also attended a finance workshop led by Dr. Ann Williams, SFO of U46. Like our own CFO, Dave Courtney, she highlighted the upcoming end of ESSER funds and shared concerns about how schools will adapt to that change, as well as the challenges surrounding EBF funding. I listened to this discussion. I was reminded of how fortunate we are that Mr. Courtney consistently takes the time to educate board members and our community on our district's financial outlook. And as Dr. Shelton said, we just moved to an A+ bond rating. So that's one of the many strengths that he brings to our district leadership team and to our school district. I also attended the delegate assembly and shared with the delegate assembly the appeal of the cell phone usage ban policy. We garnered a 40% share of the vote, and that was actually the highest share among the 3 appeals. I have some other things to add, but I know we have kids that need to do homework and some awards. So we're going to go ahead and move on with those.
Thank you.
I do have one more thing to add. I was able to attend the III conference last week as well, and attended a session sponsored by ISB, specifically Ray Clemens, who's over accountability. And she spoke to the changes that are coming next year with the report card. At that time, she shared that there would be a tour of sorts to go around to various areas in the state to discuss that change, but also encourage that districts reach out if they were interested in having anybody volunteer their time to create new thresholds. So just bring that to y'all's attention so that maybe a few of our teachers could go participate.
And I'd like to follow up on what Terry and Dr. Shelton said about the bond rating. I mean, that's a big deal. Improvement's always good. An A rating is in terms of bonds, it's on the scale of good to bad, it's good. But there are AA and AAA, and as we venture into conversations about strategic plan and goals, maybe one of our goals should be the AA or the AAA rating, to help reduce our interest rates as a result of that.
And I think, though, if we do that, we need to have a very realistic discussion as to how that is obtained.
Sure.
Because there have been some changes to Illinois school code as to how all of that happens. So.
Sure. Yeah.
Any other reports?
I don't have anything.
Are you sure?
I'm going to go ahead and sit this one out.
She's waiting for facilities later.
We are entering the section of the meeting where we recognize special guests, students who have excelled, and provide the opportunity for visitors to address the school board. Following this section, we will take a short recess to allow any individual who wishes to leave to do so prior to the remainder of the meeting. And at this time, I would like to introduce Kurt Schumacher, principal at Goshen Elementary School, and Melissa Edwards, principal of Liberty Middle School, who will recognize their Students of the Month for October.
Well, thank you, Dr. Shelton and the school board for allowing us to be here to celebrate Graham this evening. He exemplifies the Gator Way, which is something that we talk about every day at school, being respectful, responsible, kind, and safe, and to find a friend that actually encompasses all 4 of those in one action was really exciting. And Graham took it upon himself to help our custodian in the cafeteria put out wet floor signs to help keep kids safe, and wants to be a part of helping out a lot in the cafeteria. And when he and I talked about why he wanted to do that, he told me if there's food on the floor, there's going to be food on people's feet, and then the whole building is going to look dirty if all that food gets tracked all over Goshen. So he is playing a huge role in helping keep Goshen safe and showing all of our kids how to be kind and respectful to adults. So congratulations, Graham.
Congratulations, Graham. Dr. Shelton, Board of Education, thank you so much for allowing us to be here. I'm excited to present to you Maya Alexander. She's one of our awesome 8th graders here at Liberty Middle School. She's actually nominated by her teachers for this award because she's just an outstanding citizen. So Mom and Dad up in the back, thank you so much for raising a wonderful human, and her twin sister Gemma, who's equally as excellent. Maya is co-captain of our dance team, which she really enjoys, and they are having a great start to their season. We watched them dance at basketball the other day, and they're spot on. She's also dancing at Turning Point Academy of Dance, and she also sings in our choir here at Liberty. She played field hockey for us and is also a den leader, so you name it, Maya is doing it for us, which is awesome. One of the things that really got her nominated for this is she goes above and beyond when it comes to putting the needs of others before herself. So she is part of a group that actually helps stock feminine hygiene products in all of our bathrooms. So if you've ever been in our bathrooms, teacher bathrooms, student bathrooms, there are products that are free for anyone to use, and the kids do an amazing job of making sure that that stays stocked. Nobody abuses it. It's a great privilege that we have here, and Maya and her group are the driving force behind that. So she's an awesome kid. We're happy to have her. We're gonna miss her when she's at the high school, but high school friends, you're getting a great one, and you're getting a bunch of great ones from us next year. So congratulations, Maya.
So Maya,
Can we get a picture?
Yeah, Maya, Graham, Mr. Schumacher, and Mrs. Edwards, can you all come down for a picture, please?
Liberty Middle School cross country.
Sorry, my voice is going in and out a little bit with the sickness. Thank you to the board and Dr. Shelton for allowing us to be here to recognize our amazing cross-country team. And I'm going to pass it over to one of our coaches, Miss Katie Dow-Arnold.
Okay, thank you, board, for recognizing this incredibly talented, hardworking group. I was not available for most of this season because I just had a baby, so I am going to try my best to give them their due. But I want to acknowledge with first the boys cross country team. They finished second in the state this year. This is the highest finish of that Liberty Middle School cross country has ever done on the boys side. So we're incredibly proud of that. On that team, Evan Thompson, he was 17th overall, and so he was an all-state finisher. Connor Osborne was number 25 overall, and so he also was all-state. Other members on the team is Jake Burris, Jack Whitaker, Gage Griswell, Helen Mabry, Luke Gino, Will Shapiro, Nolan Lydekin, and Logan Batson. So this team, besides placing first at second state, they also won their sectionals and conference and anything else they could win. They won it because they were amazing. On the girls' side, we have Serena Shapiro. She's an incredible athlete, and she placed 21st, so she was all state on the girls' side. And I'm just really proud of all of them, and you guys are an amazing, incredible group of kids. So, good job.
So we appreciate everyone's patience and being able to recognize each group and give them their due. So at this time, I would like to introduce Amy Boscolo, Athletic Director at EHS, to recognize the EHS boys soccer team for their accomplishments this fall.
President Bertels, Dr. Shelton, members of the board, thank you so much for having us. I'm not going to speak very long, but
This is our boys soccer team walking through here today. I'm going to introduce to you Coach Mark Heiderscheid, but I have to tell you a little bit of something about Mark. Mark is pretty inspiring, and Mark completed his 25th year as our varsity head coach this season, which is a tremendous accomplishment, especially knowing how our season started and how our season ended. It was just a light switch flipped at the end, and these kids were so impressive, and it was so fun to watch them grow from day one until that final game at the state tournament. So Mark, why don't you come up here and introduce your team?
Thank you. I'll be very, very, very brief. But to add on what Amy said, before the state semifinal game, I went to go ahead and talk to Beth Sauser because she's head of the IHSA up there and admire the heck out of her. And as soon as she saw me, she just like quipped, "You're like some old rusty penny that keeps showing up." Now, somewhere in there, I know there's a compliment, but she had no idea how rusty this old penny had been through to get here. See, we did struggle early in the year, and we did make very, very good strides during September, culminating in a win against one of the best soccer programs in the country in CBC. But the very next game, we made some bad decisions that not only cost us a result, but those decisions put the program in a bad light. Frustrated at the moment in time, I stated to Ms. Boscola that I had picked the wrong sport to coach. But after I relaxed, I thought to myself, you know what? I love teaching my safe, relaxed class of advanced accounting. Who wouldn't love a balance sheet? But the basic classes that I often agreed to teach, many veteran teachers would resist to take, though that is an opportunity that is lost. There are those who would play soccer in a risky venture and even look down on it as a sport, but I say that these emotional and tense opportunities provide a challenge for young men. High school athletics are advocated as a means to prepare kids for skills later in life. Whether 16 or 60, life is riddled with good times and bad, relaxation and gripping stress, great choices and bad mistakes. As Rusty walked on the field before the state final, I had nothing but respect for the growth of these young men. We made some individual mistakes that we had to own as a collective team. But we made it our creed to move forward in a positive direction, which was so helpful to the end result. And maybe that is what makes this team even more special. So, we'd like to introduce our players. So the players we have among us, you guys can step forward, is Lincoln Allward, Gavin Lieberman, Declan Hefferman, Nolan Fornash, Maj Hamad, Jack Kurgan, Owen Mailer, Parker McMillan, Soren Selberg, Jackson Leiferts, Ben Liardi, Jack Marty, Nick Dawson, trophy man Henry Vivian, Sam Wallace, it's my time to end, Zane Maxwell, Jaden Bedorf, Alan Shalekti, and I don't think I missed anybody, did I, guys? Nope, beautiful. So this is our 2024 team this year that made the state finals, and we have another fourth place trophy. So thank you very much.
Can you introduce your coaches?
Hey, Coach, will you introduce coaches real quick also?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
So he's introducing players. Over the first one next to Mr. Kurgan, there is Tom Vincevich. And Tom has been with me since 2013. Very good year, by the way. And then with him is a player that who's a player to me, had known since he was like 12 and 13 years old, had coached him on a club team for 3 years, I believe. And then all through high school, won a state cup together as a youth team in that. And so Josh Boyd, it's so nice to have him here with us today. Thank you.
And now we will ask you to introduce the EHS swimming and diving team and recognize them for their accomplishments.
The girls you have here today are a huge chunk of our varsity swim team. Our girls were undefeated this season and they won their 11th consecutive sectional title. I'm gonna let Christian talk about their accomplishments at state, but swimming is such a challenging sport. It's year round. They've been swimming since they probably were able to walk. It is constant, it is nonstop, and it's impressive. And when you go up to the pool and you watch a swim meet, it's high intensity all the time, and these girls were amazing. So I'm going to introduce Christian Roten to come on up and talk about the girls and their state run.
Thank you, Ms. Boscolo. Thank you, Board of Education, Dr. Shelton, for this opportunity to introduce some really amazing student athletes that I have the opportunity to coach. As Ms. Boscolo said, we just finished our second undefeated regular season in a row. These girls have traveled all over the state, from local competitions against O'Fallon up to Springfield, even all the way up to Carl Sandburg High School, and they were able to win every meet that we had this season. They went into the sectional championships and were able to win their 11th consecutive sectional, and it was the largest win that we've ever had in team history, with the team scoring 330 points and winning 9 of 12 events. We were able to qualify 7 athletes in 14 different events to the state championships at FMC Natatorium in Westmont. At the sectional championships, these girls set 5 team records, the oldest of which was from 2006, which is a pretty long-standing record. At state, we accumulated the most medals at a single state meet in our program history. We were able to qualify our first ever A-final relay in the 200 freestyle relay. That's for both girls or boys swimming. We placed 13th, tying the highest program finish in team history. I'm going to introduce first my coaches, which none of this would be possible without them. First we have Brooke Osborne, who's my assistant swim coach. We have Gail Lindsay, who is our assistant dive coach. Now I'll introduce our athletes. First we have Lane Curry, who medaled in the 200 freestyle and the 200 free relay. Her older sister Riley Curry medaled in the 200 medley relay and 200 free relay. Grace Ertl, one of our 2 triple medalists at the state meet, medaled in the 50 freestyle, 200 medley relay, and 200 free relay. Kyle Jackson medaled in the 100 backstroke, 200 medley relay, and 200 free relay. And our senior, Karis Chen, who medaled in the 200 medley relay. Again, this is a great group of athletes. Very privileged to be able to coach them, and thank you guys for your time.
At this time, I would like to introduce Matt Sedaris, principal at Hamel Elementary School, to recognize District 7's Emerson Excellence in Teaching awardee.
Thank you, Ms. Birtles, Dr. Shelton, and the rest of the board for giving us an opportunity to recognize Amy Ferguson as the district's recipient for the Emerson Excellence in Teaching Award. I had the privilege of working very closely with Amy over the last 9 years. She came to Hamlin Midway during my first year as principal and came as a reading teacher, and she had already been with the district for 25 years. Very early on in my administrative career, I learned very quickly how much of an excellent teacher she was and also a great proofreader. Even when I barely knew her, my first year as principal, she helped me proofread my first presentation to the staff as a principal. She is always so helpful with students and staff. Anybody across the whole district, but she's worked at 5 different buildings that has met her, would echo those sentiments, just how much she enjoys helping students and staff. I also get emails regularly from families whose kids just so appreciate working with her and her humor and just being with them. And then, of course, teaching their little ones how to read. One of the things I'm probably most impressed with is even in the last year of her career, she retires after this year, she works just as hard and advocates for kids just as hard as she did 10 years ago when I first met her, which I think is pretty impressive. So even after 34 years and 5 different schools in our school district, she has a passion just as much as she did when I first met her 10 years ago. So I'm just really excited and proud to be able to work with her and that she's receiving this award. So thank you guys for allowing us time to recognize her as the Emerson Excellence in Teaching Award recipient.
And if you have something, I have something as well from the board, but go right ahead. And on behalf of the board, we would like to give you this plaque. It says, "In appreciation and recognition of Amy Ferguson, 2024 Emerson Excellence in Teaching Award, presented by the Board of Education on November 25th, 2024. So congratulations. At this time, the board has set aside time for anyone wishing to address the board. Would anyone like to address the board? Seeing none, we will move on to our consent agenda items. Would any board member like to remove any consent agenda item for separate action?
Yes, please. Please remove 5.2 and 5.3 from the consent agenda items.
If you could remove 5.6, the bills, please.
5.6 as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm ready with 5.2. Yep, we can do them as we move.
Okay. The requested item is being removed from the consent agenda for separate vote. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda item as amended this evening. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And can you call the roll?
Bertles,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Delariva,
Yes.
Runbeck,
And this is for the consent items that remain, correct?
as amended, yes.
All right, then yes.
Fund
Yes.
and Patey.
Yes.
At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve agenda item 5.2, the regular minutes of the meeting held on October 28th, 2024. Do I have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
And any discussion? Please call the roll.
Patey?
Yes.
Fund?
Yes.
Della Riva?
Yes.
Rumback?
Abstain.
Sanderson?
Yes.
Bertles?
Yes. I will entertain a motion to approve 5.3, the special meeting minutes from the meeting held on October 28th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
And discussion? Please call the roll.
Fund?
Yes.
Patey?
Yes.
Della Riva?
Yes.
Rumback?
Abstain.
Sanderson?
Yes.
Bertles?
Yes. And I will entertain a motion to approve agenda item 5.6, the November 25th, 2024 bills. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
And discussion?
A question about in the 22.4 fund for Midwest bus sales. If you could just explain that, I would appreciate it.
Those, my understanding is that bill was for repairs to the multifunction school buses based on the IDOT inspection.
The total of those two transactions come to almost $16,000. And these are buses that we just received a year ago.
There were buses that had items that were needed due to the inspection. I don't have the other details outside of that from the bill list.
But the details, well, we don't have a whole lot of time to discuss this, but I would like to bring before the board just the desire to have an actual discussion in our next board meeting about the details of the buses and the expenditures and the need for the expenditures. And maybe, I'm not quite sure how we address this, whether it's through policy or something going forward, but I do feel it deserves a more detailed conversation.
Can I just ask a question? Did we not get a list of all the items that needed to be done to the buses
We
in
did.
order to make them functional?
We did.
So that we could put students on them?
We did.
Okay.
So what, okay, so what types of things, I mean, would total $16,000 across? Am I correct that this is all the buses?
I don't know the number of buses. I would assume it's all the buses. I don't have that information in front of me.
But the result of it was because there were,
items identified within the inspection that were needed.
and they couldn't be driven until these items were corrected.
Correct. So they were re-inspected, correct.
Okay, well, that, I mean, and these are brand-new buses, so.
Well, I don't know that all of them are new.
No, they were not all brand new.
No.
That's
No.
right, that's right, we purchased all used buses.
There were some that were purchased in 2021, some purchased in 2022, some purchased in 2023.
Okay,
So I can say some of the items that were addressed were things, broken crossing arms. There were some interior lights burned out. There were this is just what I had in a list. So I can get you a list of the inspection. We can get anything you want. I don't have that itemized list in front of me.
okay, well, it just, I mean, every bus being out of inspection and needing to have something addressed, I think is a larger issue.
That we've
needs
already
to be
fixed.
addressed. But still could be something systemic that we need to make sure is addressed through policy that doesn't happen again.
So you say something that was fixed. What was fixed?
In terms of the system, the buses, we do weekly inspections in-house now.
Okay.
So every bus is inspected every week, both mechanically and for safety.
So what about purchase it, or prior to purchase? Any systems put in place to do a quasi-inspect? I mean, I know you can't inspect something that, prior to your ownership of it, however.
Correct. So we do rely on vendors to give us what they say they're going to give us, and if for some reason they don't, we go back and, just like with any other vendor, we would go back and we would address that with the vendor.
But in normal cases, though, if these were new buses, because I understand they're used, but in normal cases, if they were new, based on the dollar value, this would have been approved by the board ahead of time through a bid process, correct?
They were approved by the board ahead of time,
Through a
not
bid
necessarily
process?
through a bid process. It depends on how you purchase the buses.
I guess I'm confused. So I thought my understanding was on prior communication that these were approved through the billing process when they were purchased.
Through the bidding or
through the
billing?
bill process,
Correct.
through this. So
Correct.
that was, they had already been purchased, and then the purchase was approved by the board through the
No, we
bills,
informed the board before the purchase
but not the dollar amount.
of the dollar amount and the purchase, yes.
Okay. If you could remind me with that communication, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So, okay. But my request still stands that we have a follow-on conversation, and talk more holistically about whether this is not just the bus process, but how we go about purchasing equipment going forward.
So we have a motion and a second to approve 5.6. Any other discussion? Carrie, would you please call the roll?
Brumback?
Yes.
Sanderson?
Yes.
Delariva?
Yes.
Fund?
Yes.
Patey?
Yes.
Bertles?
Yes. At this time, Emma Peterson, steering committee member, will provide a report about a recent meeting.
I don't know if I've seen Emma here. If she doesn't have it, I do. Yes,
Would you please give us a report, then?
will. Bring that back just a second. So the steering committee met on October 29th for the second meeting of the year. The meeting was a continuation of the September meeting, and so we continued looking at data points for goals 4 and 5, which are family and community engagement and effective and efficient operations. Committee heard from Marianne Mitchell, coordinator for PR and communications, about the data that's collected for goal 4 that included website analytics and communication data, and from Dave Courtney, chief financial officer, with data on fund balance and other potential goal 5 data points. The committee also heard some information about upcoming board work that the board will be considering at the January retreat and our process for gathering feedback. The next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January the 14th, where they'll be reviewing the feedback received from the transportation study and an overview of the data dashboard with all 5 goals.
Okay, thank you. And Liz McKinney, will you please give us a report on the Equity Advisory Council Committee, please?
Good evening. The Equity Advisory Council met on Thursday, November 21st. We reviewed a draft copy of the equity policy to be submitted to the superintendent in the next few weeks. The committee gave feedback on the policy and made some suggestions, including the following: creating an infographic to break down the policy in clear terms for all stakeholders, ways to measure desired outcomes of the policy, allowing students easier access to the Safe to Speak Up platform by use of a QR code, and soliciting feedback from students at the end of the semester to get honest feedback about their classroom experiences.
Thank you very much. And at this time, Kristen Fund, Facilities Committee Chairperson, will you please provide your report?
Yes, Facilities Committee met earlier this morning, and we met to review the 2 bids that the district received for the asbestos removal for Lincoln Middle School. Both happy to report that both bids came in under budget, which is good. All contractors were, responsive contractors were vetted, have all their appropriate certifications and qualifications. And this is, forgive me, it's hard to explain where it is, but there's 2 separate companies that are doing the asbestos removal. Because they're going to be working kind of in conjunction in different areas of the building at the same time to keep it within the time constraint of what they have to work with, because it has to get done over the summer. So instead of logging one down, bid it out, two separate scopes of work. And one is going to be kind of working in the old, you're well more versed. I'm going back to my high school days to try and explain where I'm at in the building, but kind of the cafeteria, if you want to explain, Dr. Shelton, if you'd like to explain kind of where that's
Sure.
at.
So the 2 areas for asbestos abatement will be the 2nd and 3rd floor, and then the west side, I believe, of the 1st floor that has not been done. So that will be done to a standard so that it can be re-inhabited. And then where the elevator shaft is, that 3rd floor section, along with the 2 ramps that go up to the back to the track area, and then the cafeteria will be to a different standard just for demolition, which is very similar to what we did in the first section of demolition for Lincoln. So that's why there's 2 packages.
Okay. And it's only, when we talked, heard from Alex at the work session, she also talked about some other asbestos abatement at other elementary buildings, but this is only talking about
This is
Lincoln
only
today.
Lincoln. Those will be coming later in December or January.
Okay. That's all I have. That's good, okay. And our last report is the November school reports. These are available on board docs for all to see. The principals each submit them, and it's always good to see the snapshot of what each of the buildings are doing and how they get involved with their students as well as their staff and parents. So thank you to each of the principals for presenting those to the board. And we will move on to our action considerations, and the first is which? Approval action item 7.1, Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve personnel matters related to the resignations and retirements of employees as discussed earlier this evening in its executive session.
Move for approval. Second?
And discussion? Please call the roll.
Della Riva,
Yes.
Bunt,
Yes.
Brumback,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Patey,
Yes.
Birtles.
Yes. Approval of action item 7.2, Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve personnel matters related to the appointment, employment, compensation, or transfer of employees, pending required certifications and professional educator license, completion of paperwork, and all background fingerprint checks completed and cleared as discussed earlier.
Move for approval.
Second?
And discussion? Please call the roll.
Brumback,
Yes.
Bunt,
Yes.
Della Riva,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Patey,
Yes.
Birtles.
Yes. Approval of action item 7.3, Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the 2024 tax levy estimate for the 2025-2026 school year.
Move for approval.
Second.
And discussion?
I guess the only discussion I have on this particular topic is this kicks off my favorite time of the year, which is budget season. Because now, once we have this, then we can go into the actual budgeting process for the next year. So,
And just a comment that the 2024 tax levy rate would decrease from 467 to 464 per 100 EAV.
but it won't feel that way.
It won't, because the assessed valuation growth for 2024 is estimated to be 9%. And so the final growth we haven't determined yet, but it's going to be right around there.
Please call the roll.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Brumback,
Yes.
Della Riva,
Yes.
Bunt,
Yes.
Patey,
Yes.
Birtles.
Yes. Approval of action item 7.4, Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the reduction of the special treasure bond issued for the 2023C debt certificates and 2023D health life safety bonds from $2 million to $675,000.
Do we have a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
And discussion? I guess the reasoning behind this is since we've paid the debt down, and so no,
Yeah, when the outstanding bonds go down, the
reduction.
the special treasure bonds is 10% of the outstanding bonds.
Okay. Please call the roll.
Brumback,
Yes.
Della Riva,
Yes.
Bunt,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Patey,
Yes.
Birtles.
Yes. Approval of action item 7.5, Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the operation of the middle school and high school activity funds for the 2024-2025 school year.
Move to approve.
Second.
And discussion?
Now, this is just a list of the funds, not a projection, not
No.
just a list of what we plan on getting. Yeah.
Please call the roll.
Bunt,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Della Riva,
Yes.
Brumback,
Yes.
Patey,
Yes.
Birtles.
Yes. Approval of action item 7.6, Dr. Shelton.
Sorry, I got kicked out of the meeting.
I did that earlier too, I
We've been
think.
having lots of fun with
Crippled
technology
by
today.
technology.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the Lincoln Middle School asbestos abatement bid package number 1, partial renovation from General Waste Services in the amount of $397,750.
Move to approve.
Second.
And discussion?
And this is the first through third floor through the knuckle that I talked about.
Please call the roll.
Fund,
Yes.
Patey,
Yes.
Delariva,
Yes.
Brumback,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes. Approval of action item 7.7. Dr. Schell.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the Lincoln Middle School asbestos abatement bid package number 2, partial demolition from Midwest Service Group AAA in the amount of $188,800.
Move for approval.
Second.
And discussion? Only thing I just would like to reiterate what Kristen had said earlier, that I think the estimate was those two together, and this is quite a bit lower when you add these two together, so. Please call the roll.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Delariva,
Yes.
Brumback,
Yes.
Fund,
Yes.
Patey,
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes. Approval of action item 7.8. Dr. Schell.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the 2025-2026 EHS course handbook.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
And discussion? This was part of our work session that we had 2 weeks ago. Please call the roll.
Brumback,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Delariva,
Yes.
Fund,
Yes.
Patey,
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes. Approval of action item 7.9. Dr. Schell.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve a facility use agreement between Edwardsville Community Unit School District Number 7 and the City of Edwardsville for the use of the RP Lumber Center effective October 15th, 2024 through October 14th, 2026.
Move to approve.
Second.
And discussion?
Does this cost anything?
It does for the use of the indoor track, and that's dependent on use. The use of the community room is part of it as no cost.
But that's in the budget, correct? Okay.
Please call the roll.
Fund,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Delariva,
Yes.
Brumback,
Yes.
Patey,
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes. Approval of action item 7.10. Dr. Schell.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve a resolution pertaining to the board's review of executive session minutes from the period of May 22nd, 2023 through October 16th, 2024.
Move for approval.
Second.
And discussion? Please call the roll.
Delariva,
Yes.
Brumback,
Yes.
Fund,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Patey,
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes. Approval of action item 7.11. Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the disposal of verbatim recordings from the Board of Education's closed session meetings held from February 13th, 2023 to May 22nd, 2023.
Move for approval.
Second.
And discussion?
No comment.
Please call the roll.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Fund,
Yes.
Delariva,
Yes.
Brumback,
Yes.
Patey,
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes. And action item 7.12, I will entertain a motion to approve the board expectations as established by all board members to remind us of our collective responsibilities. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
And discussion?
Yes. I have to be completely honest, I completely missed that this was going to be on here. I thought that this was going to be discussed during work session. Because I had issues that I wanted to make sure got added to it, and I don't know if they got added to it.
Can you be a little more specific?
Yeah, there
Okay.
were a couple of issues. Number one, I had asked, we had at least at some point in discussion, we were going to add something in here about past board members being able to participate in graduation.
I guess that was brought up. Just a little background, we've met at least 3 times, spent hours on end with board members as well as IASB representation, and created, and I didn't, 6 pages, 7 pages, something like that, of expectations for board members. And I think one of the early sessions, that was a brief discussion, but as we were getting to the finalized versions, I don't think that was brought up until after our very last session. So my suggestion to you was that this whole document will be reviewed this coming June at the board retreat. And that would be something that could be brought up at that time rather than added to the draft without further discussion as a group.
Okay, and I understand what you're saying, but I guess this is one of these documents that the board has not gone through before and developed something to this extent. And I would probably err on the you know, that it encompassed everything that we had talked about and embody that. And I felt strongly about that particular point just because of the message it sends to people that we would like to run for the board, that maybe to encourage people that have kids in elementary school who might not want to join the board and feel like that they have to be there the whole time and still sort of get some of the benefit of being a board member. Maybe when their child finally graduates, they can be there to hand their diploma. And I know it sounds like a small point to a lot of people, but I have to be honest, there ain't a whole lot of perks when you're sitting up here and you're making decisions that impact the community. And if we really want to have people on the board that encompass the entire district, not just people that have kids in high school, but we want to have elementary school representation on the board as well. I mean, that's a point that I feel is strong enough that I'm willing to fight for that. I also felt, and I thought we had discussed that this was going to be discussed during a work session so that the community could hear us talk about it a little bit, sort of in broad strokes, and have a conversation about it rather than it just come up for a vote. And for that reason, I will not vote for this.
Any other discussion at this time?
No, Bob, I remember, I mean, when we had the many sessions with this, I remember you saying something about that. I don't remember, I mean, we talked about a lot of things. I don't remember at length discussing that. But I do know that one of the common things that we all said is that we want to get this document put together. We want to get these out. We want to share what we need to share of these. Since she's correct, in June, you get to redo them.
Mm-hmm.
The slate for the school board has already been set. Can't go back and change that.
Okay.
I guarantee Jennifer and I we're not coming back the next, we don't need to come back in May when they graduate, or June. Mm-hmm. I think it would be, you have to do what you need to do, but if that is the holdup of it, that's something again that we can add, and that's what we always said, is everything can be revisited. Every June, it can always be revisited.
Every other June, but that's
Every other
okay.
June, sorry, but
After
this
the
June,
election.
but we are
Yes.
doing
would
it,
be,
yes.
Yeah.
But this
Yes.
June, we would be doing it,
Yes.
because there would also be new people on the board.
Yep.
And I would like to see it in place a little bit before the new people do come on, because it's a document that's gonna help guide them and help them to understand and help us to support them also. I have one other comment I'm not saying we shouldn't continue on that, but while I'm talking, at the conference this week, IASB came up to me and said, this is a great document. They're gonna talk to Dr. Shelton at some point because they wanna use this as a template for other schools to adopt. So that was really, I thought that spoke highly of the work that we did on this document.
Did you see Patrick Allen? Is that who you talked to? Okay, all right. So Patrick Allen has guided us through, I believe it's been 3 sessions regarding this document. So it's been we've been working on this quite a bit.
I guess that's just what I don't understand. We've gone through this process this long. I'm talking about one change, and we can make it the next meeting, but and part of it is I feel like in a lot of ways, a lot of things we discuss that I bring up kind of get kicked down the road and we don't come back and readdress it. And this is one I feel like I'm going to have to put my foot down, that I feel personally. We all compromised on a lot of issues on this. There are all things in this that maybe weren't exactly the way we wanted it, but was important to other people. This one is the one for me. I felt like it was something that I saw that another district did in their protocols that I thought spoke to an acknowledgement of the effort that people in, it's sort of a nod to past service. And it was something that I thought was just, it was just nice. And I don't understand why it just can't go in. And we just do it. And that's why I sent the email when this came out. And I said, hey, we missed it, let's just put it in. I don't understand the rush all of a sudden to have to get it out. I mean, I'm talking like, when's our next meeting?
Well, we don't have a work session in December, we have a work session in January.
Okay, well, but we have a meeting in December, right?
Right.
Okay.
But, I mean, it'd be no different than now, but I guess, in my opinion, as far as what you're the verbiage that you're suggesting, I don't personally feel like if a board member has served however many terms or years or whatever, when their children are in kindergarten or first grade, 12 years later, it's an honor to be up on that stage, and not everybody gets to do that. And I don't know that it's appropriate for that person to come back 12 years later to hand that certificate or graduation.
I mean, I understand what your point is. I mean, obviously, we disagree on that. There are other districts that are doing it, and that's what gave me the idea, because there were protocols that were actually presented to us where that was listed in there. I guess I don't see what the problem is.
And I am with Jill. Where do you draw the line? It's a great thing, but I'll be honest, I'm not on the board to get perks, so while it was really, I was fortunate enough, my grandson did graduate last year to be up there, that was that privilege right then, but where do you draw the line? What if there's 10 people that need to be up there, and that's a chaotic time? You know, I remember just juggling around and everything for us to be up there, so
I guess.
Well, and it's not like it can't happen. So let's say someone this spring is graduating and they approach this former board member, approaches the superintendent and says, can I be a part of this celebration? It's, subject to discussion at that level. Yeah. And that has happened in the past.
I think it's also important to note how many items we went through to get this document. So it's not just about, we all had to make compromises, and we all went back and forth. We had to come back the next time to do it. So it's not where, I know, Bob, this is a passionate one of yours now. There were many, you had many, Jennifer had many, Terry, Jill, myself, and Lyndon, sorry. But we all did. So it's not, I don't want to make this great document that we put together. I don't want it to be tarnished by this one thing that didn't get put in.
Okay.
As again, I felt like it was something that you had said, but not all the hard work that we put in. I mean, it was a long time. It was a lot of hours going back and forth with everyone, and we had great we had first started out one way, and we had great conversation that led to a lot of great things being put in here. We took stuff out, we disagreed, you get what you want, I got what it actually wasn't even like, you get what I want, I get what you want kind of thing. It was, we talked about it and we compromised, and that's where majority of this document came out. So I don't want it to be put out there that that whole thing of what we did is tarnished because of one thing that's not put in there. That can be put in there at a later date.
Right, and I want to acknowledge all the work that's gone into it, because a lot of work has gone into it, and I don't want to make it sound like that it's not. And you're making very good points. I wish when I brought this up that if feelings were felt differently, because my concern is that because nobody said anything and then it eventually didn't end up in there, that maybe it just was just get it through. And so I'm willing to meet y'all halfway on this. I mean, I personally would like to have it pulled so I have an opportunity to think about it, what you've said, and all that kind of stuff before I vote yes on this. Acknowledging that may mean that it not be in there and it actually be discussed more fully in June.
So, but we still have the opportunity to add it in June, right? So this is a very fluid document subject to change
In June,
in June.
right.
Is there somebody specifically, you're wanting this done because there's somebody specifically
Specific
that-
between now and May?
No, I just,
This
feel
particular
strongly about it,
graduation?
and so I just would like to be able to make sure that I feel like I voted 100% behind it. But right now, I went into this discussion, kind of surprised that it wasn't going to be discussed in a work session where we can have a more full conversation like this and it not be at, almost 8:30 at night. So,
But I think the reason being that when we go into a discussion like this, we usually have to do it under the advisement of the IASB if we're changing the document.
No.
Or
That was
we've
if we
had-
were going to discuss it in closed session, they had to be present. But we could still have this conversation, just like we're having right now in full public.
So one of the things, as y'all have been talking, I've been looking at the subtitles within it, within the document itself. And a lot of it speaks to current behaviors, current actions of, of the current board. So my question is, I do remember the conversation, but where does it live? Where does something like that live in the structure that we've set up? Because when I look at the subsection areas, even right now, it has to do with orientation, roles and responsibilities, listening to concerns from the community, interactions and behavioral expectations, no surprises, preparing for board meetings, requests for information and questions, committee expectations, speaking with one voice, public comment, engaging the community, visits to schools, use of electronic communication, agreed upon expectations and social media. So where would that live inside this document for after you're no longer on the board? These are the things that you get to participate in. Does it belong in here, or does it just belong in?
Where do you, that's a great question. I don't know. But again, I guess that's something that I thought was more appropriate for a work session discussion. So, we can go ahead and vote if you want.
Any other comments? I just know, or I reiterate as everyone else has, that we spent several long hours and it was very good discussion. And I think we came up with a very good document, but it is flexible and able to be adjusted as the future boards review it in June on the retreat after every election.
So the bottom line is, if somebody wanted to right now for June, they could technically contact Dr. Shelton, correct? And ask for that?
That's what's happened previously.
Okay.
But as we're discussing, there's no guarantee it'll be on there. Maybe it'll just get discussed, but there's no guarantee that it will be in there.
No, she's saying if I want to come back in 2 years and hand a diploma to some family member, I can contact Dr. Shelton and he can tell me yes or no.
But historically, we have not allowed that, though.
Historically, we have not allowed that.
But even, let's say we implement that policy, then next summer, there could be a vote within the organization, within board members that say, no, we're going to remove that policy. So it's, again, it's a changing document
Every
that is
policy we have is
subject.
like that.
Right, right.
So what you're saying is we're voting.
I think I'm prepared to vote for it because I think we've spent quite a bit of time on it. We spent several meetings on it, and each of those meetings has been at least 3 hours.
Well, when we walked out of the last meeting, I was prepared. I could have voted for it that night if that was, that's how confident that I was that we had done the job that we had done together as a group and what we had agreed to, I was that confident I could say yes that night.
It was a couple of days after that meeting when I sent my email to.
Okay,
to
but I
President
left
Rhodes
that
to
meeting
make her
also
aware of it.
feeling like, okay, we're done with this. I thought this next was gonna be the vote.
Again, I was feeling, everything else, that particular item, I was just disappointed that it didn't get in and that there wasn't a more robust conversation of it, and I was told, just wait till June.
So I did not know that you actually did that, because you didn't ever email me any of your objections or any of, to this
Suggestions.
document.
Well, I sent it-
Suggestions
I
to
sent
this
it to-
document.
You sent it to Dr. Shelton. and
Dr.
myself.
Shelton and
Okay.
Jim. Yeah, so I mean, I communicated mine. And typically, whenever I communicate anything that I bring up here, I've already communicated with the both of them.
And I also, my response to you said that I had a few things as well that I would like
Mhm.
to
Yep.
review and possibly interact or interject in June when we do the review.
And I said, I look forward to the discussion, which we are having. So I will vote yes, but
June, what's coming back?
I'm not happy about it. Everything else about the document I feel is fair and well thought out, but that particular issue I wish had been put in.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Fund.
Yes.
Rumbeck.
Yes.
Delariva.
Yes.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Patey.
Begrudgingly, yes.
Bertles.
Yes. And we are on to other items. Are there any board members that would like to share brief announcements at this time?
I don't have a brief announcement. I was going to share my comments that I presented to the delegate assembly. If you are open to that?
As long as it's under 3 minutes.
Okay, start the timer now.
You better talk fast.
Okay, so, greetings, fellow IASB members. I'm here today to ask for your support on a vote to adopt the resolution regarding cell phone usage in schools. You may wonder why this issue is worth bringing forward. My answer aligns with what Mickey Smith Jr. said yesterday. We must keep on going to support what we believe in. He offered keywords: trust, relationship, influence, instruction, and vision, and linked social media influencers with trust. This displacement has affected education. Trust should reside with our educators and our schools, and not just our social media influencers. Our attention should be focused upon what is in front of us and not on our phones. Our own students have said that implementation of our policy has created an environment that encourages conversation and discussion in the classroom and out. As of November 4th, 2024, 8 states have implemented statewide policies restricting cell phone use in schools. 12 more states have introduced similar legislation, while 9 states are piloting or recommending state policies. That's 29 states leading efforts to create phone-free school environments, and it's time for Illinois to take action. Here's why this matters. Firearms have been the leading cause of death for U.S. children and teens since 2020. Less than 10% of those deaths are accidental. That leaves us with suicide and homicide. Our children are in the midst of a mental health crisis, and unfettered access to their phones is not helping, it's harming. The U.S. Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy, has urged Congress to issue warnings about social media's mental health risks. Gallup data shows that kids spend an average of 4 hours a day on social media. Cell phones don't belong in the hands of a developing prefrontal cortex brain during learning hours. They are a nuisance, a distraction, and a barrier to literacy. In 1976, 40% of high school seniors reported reading 6 or more books a year for fun, while only 11% said they hadn't read any. And by 22, those numbers had flipped. Literacy is the foundation for developing critical thinkers and preparing students for the rigors of adulthood. As Dr. Marianne Wolf reminds us, every child can become something they never imagined through deep literacy. This resolution helps create environments where students can focus on learning free from digital distractions. This proposal is not about mandates, but about empowering local school districts. Safety concerns? This resolution accounts for exceptions like emergencies, health conditions, and IEP accommodations. A clear and consistent statewide policy would create safer, more predictable environments. While IASB press policies offer guidance, they lack the enforceability of legislation. Without legislative support, not all Illinois students will benefit equally from the data-driven solutions we know are necessary. As school board members, our duty is to strengthen public education through local control while collaborating at the state level to ensure the best outcomes for all students. The long-term benefits of reducing cell phone use in school, improved academic performance, mental health, and emotional resilience are at the heart of this resolution. In supporting this resolution, we make a statement: Illinois students deserve a learning environment that prioritizes their mental health, their academic growth, and their future success. Let's act boldly to create the schools our students need.
Well written.
Thank you.
Yes, that's good.
Are there any other announcements from board members? With no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.